Alright guys, today we're going to go over Firestarters 5, 6, and 7. So a lot of this review you've probably already talked about area and perimeter in a lot of your previous math classes. So remember, area is the stuff on the inside. So area is the inside. So area, we're trying to find how many little perfect squares we can fit inside here. I'm going to pretend those are little squares instead of what I was doing. So area is always going to be written in square units. That's the inside. It's coverage. Think about like when you see like a map on a cell phone commercial, how much area that covers. That's what we want there. So that is area. Perimeter is the outside. So perimeter is the edges. Perimeter is what is the distance around the outside. That is perimeter, right? And that's always measured in regular units because it's a simple measurement. It's like just undoing. It's just measuring those like with a ruler or something, or measuring your height, right? Just repeatedly over all the sides. Now circumference is basically, so we do have a different word. So we have the circumference word. That is that's the perimeter of a circle. It's just special with the circle. So this is your hint page that you're looking at right here. It is on our Google Classroom. So basically it covers everything off. Perimeter, that's P, right? I've tried to make it orange so you could say, oh, it's always the outside. Area is the inside. Here's the different formulas for triangles, squares, rectangles, parallelograms, trapezoids, and circles. You'll need all of those. The bottom row kind of gives you some of the different words that we'll use all the time, like height, inside. Notice I will purposely use lowercase letters for this. Length, I always use like a cursive L and a cursive W. R, it's always a lowercase r. C is always I use a big C and a big P for perimeter and circumference. I use a big A for area. So it's like your passwords. It is case sensitive. So we're going to play into all of that, and I'm going to go over a couple of fire starters. And it should be pretty simple stuff. All right, we're going to start off with Yolanda has 26 centimeters of cording. So 26 centimeters of cording to frame her photograph and her scrapbook. Which shape would use the most of the cord and enclose the largest area? So which shape would use the most of the cord? That's going to be perimeter. And the largest area is obviously going to be area. So I'm going to find the perimeter of area of all four of these pieces. And then I'm going to just compare and make a decision at the end. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with I'm going to make the right triangle. So I'm just going to draw a right triangle. The keyword is labels. I drew a right triangle. Is labels. Each leg is 7 centimeters, so I guess I can make a triangle a little better. So just based off of this, 7 centimeters, 7 centimeters, this is the right angle. Now, to find perimeter, I have to find this missing side, and that's where Pythagorean's theorem comes into play. So remember, that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where this is a and this is b. So we'll call that c. We don't know what c is. So I know that I have 7 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. So I have 49 plus 49, so I have 98 equals, I don't know, right, 99. And then to get the little 2 away, I square both sides, so I find out c is equal to the square root of 98. For you guys, we're not going to go over simplifying radicals yet. That'll be something we do a little bit in algebra 2. So I'm going to square root 98. I end up with about 9.9. So we're going to say c is about, and that's why I use the approximate symbol. So 9.9 centimeters. So that guy is 9.9 centimeters. So my perimeter is going to be 7 plus 7 centimeters. It's this one. Plus my third one. So if you guys didn't see this, we do have, to the left, I have how do you find perimeter for a triangle. I add up all 3 outside sides. I don't use the height unless the height is actually one of the sides of the triangle. The height is always perpendicular to the base, so it's not always going to be part of the triangle. So I took the 3 sides that are part of the triangle, I add them up. 7 plus 7 is 14, and then I add 9.9 to it. So my perimeter is going to be 23.9 centimeters. Now my area, it's going to be 1/2 base times height. Well, if it's a right triangle, this is the base and this is the height. So my area is going to be equal to 1/2 7 times 7. So I just put my calculator, 1/2 7 times 7. I end up with my area is going to be 24.5, and this time it's going to be square centimeters. You say square centimeters, you write it as centimeters squared. All right, that's just how you do it. Now, I don't know if this is the best one yet. I know this will work though. I know this is possible because this is less than 26. If that was more than 26, I couldn't use it. There would not be enough chord. But this one's going to have, 2.1 centimeters left over. And it has 24.5 area. All right, the next one. So if you need a circle, look, I draw a circle. It has a radius of 4 centimeters. So my perimeter or circumference is equal to pi 2 pi r, or pi times the diameter. I'm using 2 pi r. So my circumference is 4, so I'm going to put 4 in for r. So I'm going to say c equals 2 times pi times 4. Now some people will write 8 pi as an answer because that's exact, but for us that's going to be kind of difficult and not really going to help us a lot. So I'm going to do 8 pi. I end up with 25.13. I'm rounding to 2 decimal places. So 25.13. So that's already better than A. It's already better than A because it only has, if I compare, it only has 0.87 centimeters, as less than 1 centimeter left over. So now we got to find out the area. The area is equal to pi r squared. Remember, r is 4, so my area is equal to pi. Instead of r, I put 4 because that's the radius. So my area is equal to 16 pi. Now remember, I'm going to put that in my calculator just because for comparison purposes. And I'm going to get 50.27. So area is about, and I should put an approximate symbol here. 50.27. We're going to say square centimeters. So this one is definitely off the table. Because not only is this one have used more of the chord, it has way more area, almost double the area as it did comparatively. So right now we like B. All right, C. So once again, I'm going to draw my picture. Hopefully I'm going to have a better picture than that, or I'll just cheat and do this. Now, my length is 8 centimeters. My width is 4.5 centimeters. So perimeter is easy. Remember, width, you could do 2, and I have that over here. So with this, you could do 2 times the length, 2 times the width, or you could just copy and paste them over 0.55 centimeters, 8 centimeters, and everything together. So right now my perimeter is going to be 2 times 8 plus 2 times 4.5. So 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 4.5 is 9. So my perimeter is 25 centimeters. So this has a whole, this one has a whole centimeter left over of extra chording. Now, we might have to make a decision if the area is close. So I'm going to look at my area. So remember, area is equal to 8 times 4.5. Remember, area for a rectangle is length times width. So I just do my calculator, 8 times 4.5. I end up with exactly 36. So area is equal to 36 square centimeters. Don't forget your little 2 there. And you say it as square centimeters. Now, after all that, I still think B is better because B has a little bit less chord left over and still way more area. So the last one we're going to do is a square. So I'm going to make my square. Boom. And it's 6 centimeters, which means all 4 sides are 6 centimeters. Now, really, a square is just a fancy rectangle. So you could just do your perimeter as add them all up, or you could do 4 times 6. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to do 4 times 6. So my perimeter is equal to 24 centimeters. So this one has 2 centimeters left over of chording. Now, unless the area is really significantly better than the circle, I'm probably not going to use this one. But let's find out. Area is equal to side squared, or you could do length times width. So area is equal to 6 squared. Area is equal to 36 square centimeters. So I'm not going to use that one either. So B is the best one. The circle gives me the best, the most area, and leaves behind the least amount of waste. So that's best. Firestarter 7 is the exact, or I'm sorry, Firestarter 6 is the exact same thing. We did it in class. For your class, I didn't like the numbers I picked at first, so I did change it. So if you're doing it now, then just change the numbers. I like the numbers I use better anyhow. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a right triangle. 10 centimeters, 10 centimeters. Remember, I have to find this piece. So I'm going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So this is c. We don't know c. So I have 10 squared plus 10 squared equals c squared. So I have 100 plus 100. So I have 200 equals c squared. Now remember, that's c squared. So to figure out what the actual side length is, remember this is Pythagorean theorem. We've all done it before. So I end up with c equals the square root of 200. So my calculator, do radical symbol, 200. I end up with 14.14. And it's about. It's not exact. So it's 14.14 centimeters. So this is going to become 14.14 centimeters. So now my perimeter is going to be pretty easy. My perimeter is going to be all 3 sides, 10 plus 14.14. So my perimeter is going to be 10 plus 10, which is 20, plus, so I'm going to get 34.14 centimeters. All right, that's good. Now my area is going to be 1/2 my base, which is 10, times my height. So I'm using this one, or I like to write it as actually the first one. I like to write it that way, because I seem to make less mistakes. You guys seem to make less calculator mistakes when you write it that way. So 1/2 10 times 10. So my area is going to be 50, and it's square centimeters. So don't forget the little 2. And when you say it out loud, you say square centimeters, not centimeters squared. So there is my, for comparison purposes, right? We're going to keep track of my perimeter. So I have about 1.86 chording left over, and I have 50 square centimeters. Now I'm going to do my circle. So my circle here has a radius of 5.75. So I have to do circumference. So my circumference is equal to 2 times pi times my radius. So my circumference is equal to 2 times pi times 5.75. I just put all that in my calculator. So I press 2, then pi, then 5.75, and it spits out 36.12. So my circumference is about 36.12, and it's going to be centimeters. Now here's the problem. We only have 36 centimeters. So there's no way this is going to work. It's impossible. Now you could, if you wanted to, just to be a little extra, you could find the area. It's not that much harder. So pi r squared, just to see how much difference the area would be if we could just find a little bit extra chording. So we go pi times 5.75 squared, 5.75 squared times pi. So I end up with 103. So it's definitely way more significant to have the area here. My area is going to be 103.87, about. So it's about 103.87, and it's going to be square centimeters. But the problem is I don't have enough chord to make that. Alright, so rectangle. I'm going to make my rectangle box. And this one is going to be 12 by 6.5. So my perimeter is going to be 12 plus 12 plus 6.5 plus 6.5. So 12 and 12 is 24. That's 13. So my perimeter is going to be 37 centimeters. Once again, that's not going to help me because I only have 36. Now just to be a little extra, we're going to do my area, 12 times 6.5. I end up with 78. So my area is 78 square centimeters. But once again, that's not going to help me because it doesn't work. Last one, I have a square. 9.25 all the way around. It's a 5. So my perimeter is going to be 4 times 9.25. So just put my calculator. 4 times 9.25 equals 37. And once again, this is impossible. So the only one that could work is this one, because none of the other 4 have enough chording to do that. But in case we wanted to, the area for the fourth one, 9.25 squared. So my area is equal to 9.25 squared. My area is equal to 85.5625. And I just went all the way. I went to 4 decimal places just so I didn't have to round it. And it's square centimeters. So remember, A is the best answer. All right, Firestarter 7 says find the missing measurement. So they give you the area. So you have to find, this is the base. This is the height. So we have to find the height. So if I know area is equal to base times height for a parallelogram, then I'm basically going to use a little bit of algebra skills here. So I'm going to take my area, 1,147.2 square miles, equals my base, which is 48, times some sort of height. And now look, all I have to do is try and figure out how to get the h by itself. So to do that, I just divide both sides by 48. So I say 1,147.2, I divide it by 48 on both sides. My height is going to be equal to 23.9 miles. And just to double check that, I'm gonna plug 23.9 in right here, and I'm gonna kind of do it all over again. So I'm gonna say 23.9 times 48. So if I didn't know any of this, if I had to check my work, I would do 48 times 23.9. If this is right, it should turn into 1,147.2. So I do 23.9 times 48, and it turns into 1,147.2 square miles. That's my check step. So that's it. Pretty simple. That's all we're doing for Firestarter 7. Number 2, this time it says we have a triangle. So we want to find the height. I have a base. Remember, this is not needed. That's extra. Because that is neither the base nor the height. So my area is equal to 1/2 base times height. I'm going to plug everything that I know in. I know the area, so I'm going to plug in 521.5 equals 1/2. I know the base, 29.3. I don't know the height, that's why I leave it as an h. Just to kind of make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to multiply these two together. I'm going to do 1/2 of 29.3. I end up with 14.625. So this is going to turn into area, which is 521.5, equals 14.65. That's 1/2 of 29.3 times our height. Now to get the h by itself, it's really simple. I just like algebra, when we get our x by itself. So I do 521.5 divided by 14.65. And so I get my height. So this is what's left over, height. And I have, we're going to say 35.6. So it says round to the nearest tenth. So we're going to say height is equal to 35.6 centimeters. Now this is not, and really this is approximately, this is not square centimeters. This is regular centimeters because it's what goes right there. So this is 35.6. Oh, it's in millimeters. So to change that into millimeters, see how they try to trick us with that? Right, I have to make 35.6 centimeters into how many millimeters? Well, remember you move that decimal point over 1. So 1 centimeter has 10 millimeters in there. So that's not, so that's going to become 356 millimeters. And that's it for Firestarter 7.